we all know what it means. It's the game. It's the one you practice, you play for, you work for all year. So we all know the stakes, and that'll give us a chance to go repeat on the Big Ten title. So the the words, the prep, that'll come out a little bit more later on down the week. I try to keep it on a low boil this week because I can get pretty high really fast. So um, the kids are as prepared mentally and physically as they'll ever be to get ready for this week. So I'm just excited to get with them today.
On the left, Michael. Questions he's doing.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in to the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football on this Wednesday. That's Michigan coach Sherrone Moore. He'll be the head coach coming up on Saturday. And, you know, it's all right if you're a little bit nervous about Saturday. I don't think you have to be a little bit nervous about Saturday coming up. If you're a Michigan fan, it's a big game. You know, it's as big. You know, sometimes you just say big game, big game. This is as big. You know, you can make a case, and you know it'll depend what happens afterwards. It is going to be one of the biggest games ever. Certainly, as you head into it, all the circumstances, everything is going on. It's one of the biggest games in Michigan history. So that's where we are sitting here on this Wednesday. I mean, people are like, whoa, it's a good thing that Thanksgiving is tomorrow. And you got, this day, this Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, it's a great sports day. It's a great night for a lot of people that like to go out and see their friends. And, there's Michigan basketball is playing coming up at 5:00. I'm saying all this, and then tomorrow and then Friday, a lot of games and everything. It just gives you something to do because we're all sitting around waiting and just can't think about anything except Saturday at noon and what Michigan is going to be able to do. And that's what we're here. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Michigan and Ohio State, the game coming up on Saturday. I've got a couple questions for you. I'll tell you how I'm feeling about things at any point. You got a question, you've got a comment, you go ahead and you use the comments and we put them up on the screen and we work with you that way. Now, if you're somebody that says, I just can't get enough Michigan football, I just want it all the time and, just at all times, well, here it is for you, the answer to that problem of wanting all Michigan all the time. That's where the Maize and Blue Review comes in, and you should subscribe by going to michigan.rivals.com, and then you find people that are just like you, rabid Michigan fans that want to talk about the game. They want to talk about the pregame. They want everything surrounding Michigan all day and all night, recruiting, transfer portal. I mean, that's all in there as well. As you might expect, a lot of the focus is, on the game plan and, just how people are feeling about Michigan's chances coming up on Saturday. Well, spoiler, I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about Michigan's chances. Why wouldn't you? There's a few reasons why you might not. There's, and some people they're just, I was going to say a predisposition or just a disposition. They're just, if they're not worried about, the sky falling or, oh my God, this is going to be it, then that's kind of how they, can brace themselves in case, the worst happens. You got to do that. We're all different. Some people, it doesn't matter. They're just, riding and, they would be cocky about it. And, hey, so I think it's understandable, all those different emotions. I think the one thing, it's just, there's a lot of excitement about everything as we get ready to go. Now, the particulars about the game, if you are out, just remember this, that if you're out on Saturday morning and you get caught up at the cider mill and the line's a little bit longer at the party store, you should have all this already taken care of. But we all know, we all live busy lives. You might have to, go up to the party store or something. You don't have to race home to be right there at noon, 12:14. then if you remember the last couple of years, this game has been on Fox. You sit there and, you just can't stand it. You finally get to 12 o'clock and you're like, let's go. And then, Fox is like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? They're playing like 5 hours of commercials here. And it seems like it's 5 hours of commercials. And really, it's just 14 minutes of filler because they know that everybody's anticipating. So, but the point is 12:14. So you get a little bit, you can buy some time with all of that, and that's good. And if you have to turn on the TV at 12 o'clock, just be prepared that you're going to have to sit there because they're not going to kick it off until 12:14. Michigan is a 3.5-point favorite. I've seen it down to 3. I've seen it anywhere from 3.5 to 4, whatever that means for you. 46, the over and under, if that's something that you're interested in as well. I think the game is going to be under the total, and I think Michigan is going to cover the 3.5 points. If that's something that is interesting to you, there you go. That's my opinion on that. Now, before I give you a question, I am just going to go to the people. Today's, your kind of day. I just told you how I'm feeling for 5 minutes here straight. I want to see how you are feeling. Kent is saying that he has rewatched the Maryland game, and he says JJ looked really good through 3 quarters. The pass to CJ was on CJ's head, needs to be out of the break on such a long and developing route. I'll take your word a little bit on that. I have not gone down to break down whether or not that was on JJ or whether that was on Kojo. When I was watching it, I thought it was on the quarterback. I thought he needed to make a better throw there. But, that was without knowing what the route is and, what all of the particulars are going back and watching it to see something through there. Did JJ look really good through 3 quarters? I'm not really sure about that either. There were, overall, because JJ hurt his ankle against Penn State, and so they were going into this Maryland game. I don't think they were taking Maryland lightly, but it's like, here's the thing when it comes down to McCarthy. I think in some of these games, you're like, you don't want to see him run at all, only in the big games. And maybe that was part of it because he wasn't using his legs, and his legs are such a big part of his game that he just wasn't the McCarthy that we have seen him like last year against Ohio State or in the majority of his games and the majority of the big games. That wasn't him. He was just off a little bit with a lot of his throws and then without the running. Now, sure, he made some. There was a couple throws in there he made. You're like, oh, that's vintage JJ. And look, the part where we're at now, where I'm at, I think probably where you're at now. I mean, JJ McCarthy's great. JJ McCarthy's, he might be, the greatest quarterback ever to play at Michigan. So, pretty tough standard. So, yeah, we've seen some of these throws that go whistling by somebody's ear. The guy turns around and the ball's just, stuck right in there. And you're like, it's JJ. Or you see him running and, Michigan needs 8, and he gets 8.5 and he steps out of bounds. And you're like, this McCarthy is something else. He is something else. And that's a lot of the reason, the way he played last year and what he's capable of. And about this game on Saturday, that if JJ's right, that's been the thought of mine. And I think yours all year long is that that's going to be the difference in a game like Saturday. McCarthy's going to be the difference. JJ McCarthy is a difference maker. He is, if he's not the best quarterback in the country, he is up there. And, the very, 1, 2, 3, wherever you want to put him. I'm not talking about the NFL draft, just talking about the quarterback. This is the kind of player that you want on your side to win a game like Saturday. And he's going to be in the maize and blue. I mean, this guy, if we sat around saying, hey, let's make the perfect Michigan quarterback. What do you want? You got to have a quarterback that can, make all the throws. You got to have, the size and the measurables, check. You'd like to be able to, see him run as well. Escapability, pick up, check. He can do all that. What about his personality? Does he have, check all of it? McCarthy has it all. So, I mean, that's, part of it where we're sitting and, talking about this and this game. Good to see Richard. He's got the countdown of 84 hours. I'm going to take your word for that without being able to go through it really quick. Travis is saying the game will be cold in Ann Arbor. There's no way we see a very good McCord on Saturday. Expect Michigan to start stacking the box in the second half. Well, McCord is, he's got outstanding players around him. So he can be a game manager, but, Michigan might be able to, you feel like Michigan has a check mark next to it if we're just evaluating the quarterbacks. And then, the Michigan defense, you feel like maybe they can do something and get McCord on the ground. But yeah, if we're talking about Michigan's strategy, both teams stopping the run in this game. So it's what's Michigan's game plan? Yeah, Travion Henderson. You don't want to see him getting into the second level and breaking tackles. And he's really been, he wasn't there last year, and then he was banged up this year. He looks 100%. He's a great running back, and he's playing the best that he's ever played. So Henderson, and being able to get him on the ground and without committing many players there, to me, that sounds like the number one thing. The second one, Harrison, and dealing with him, those are the two guys, Henderson, Harrison, if, limiting the amount of big plays that those guys make. The great part for Michigan is they've got firepower to match those guys, Corum and Edwards, and hell, I'll put Mullings in there. The three for Michigan, and I know the Buckeyes have some backs beyond Henderson, but if we're just looking at, the running game, Michigan's running game can match what Ohio State's, and then Michigan passing game, when you put JJ's legs and his arm with Roman Wilson, who I expect to play coming up on Saturday, and Colston Loveland, you saw the success that he had last year in this game. And oh yeah, the aforementioned Cornelius Johnson, who had a 69-yard touchdown reception, a 75-yard touchdown reception. That was just in the first half last year. This is a Kojo game. So Michigan can fight the playmaking and the big playability of Ohio State's with some of their own. That's why, is the cold weather going to be a factor? I mean, if it was really snowing, I'd feel like that was an advantage to Michigan because, but that was like Stroud because, he didn't like the cold weather and everything else. But it makes you feel like it's an advantage. And it was with Stroud. But, I don't think the cold, it's not going to be bitterly cold where you're thinking about, oh my gosh, could that affect it? Maybe there could be some wind there, but I don't feel like the weather doesn't feel like it's going to be a factor. So there it is. Richard, you're including Michigan in the top three, so we must be number one. What's that mean? Michigan in the college football playoff rankings were number three. So after Saturday, is there a chance that they could be number one? Yeah. There is. Look, I don't know, like Michigan wins the game on Saturday, whatever the other semifinal is, do they want to avoid Georgia in the first round if we're really starting to, go down and extrapolate it, down towards the end? Yeah, I think so. But, Michigan wants to win this game to for all the reasons that we could sit around talking about. But if they do win it, you feel like they have a pretty good chance at winning the Big Ten again as well, with Iowa sitting there. They're not going to. They'll likely avoid Georgia. Georgia's got to play Alabama still, so it's a little bit long ways off. I don't mind talking about any of it, but my focus is not that, like I said, I'll talk about the whole thing, but my focus really is on Saturday. So that's it. That's what's going on. Chris is just ready for it. He's bleeding blue. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Chris. That's why you're here, man. This is, you're sitting here online with a million other things to do. I appreciate you here. It's because people are focused in and consumed with the game on Saturday. And that's where I'm at as well. There's a lot of people, feeling around for, I don't know, is it the inside scoops? I think all of that, it's just all nice to have. And, the people like all the information they can. It's just like, we know everything, that's going on, with this game. Let's see them out there. Let's see how it's going to play out. Let's go. That's it. Okay. Scott talking a little basketball. I hear you on that. Scott likes Jenny Taft. She's a great announcer. The All-American girl. Who will Lee Corso pick on Saturday? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine there. That's it. Dr. Detroit, is JJ hurt or what? Is Roman? Well, you know what happened to Roman, Dr. Detroit. He got knocked out with a blow to the head on Saturday. He has had to go through the protocol. He has not had the setback, so it appears that he is going to be ready to go on Saturday. When you're talking about brain injuries, you're a doctor, Dr. Detroit, so anybody telling you 100%, it looks pretty good that he's going to play there. JJ has been practicing. JJ's going to play as well. Look at all of this, like, people trying to say, JJ this, J whatever. I get being concerned on that. I'm waiting for Saturday to see JJ run the ball for 10 yards, like, Super JJ, which, it's been Super JJ has been the JJ that I've seen most of the time that's played for Michigan. Also, Super JJ is throwing those pinpoint passes. I'm looking for both early. JJ running the ball and JJ with some precision passing. I see both of those things. Feeling pretty good about Michigan. And it wouldn't be all that bad if he went and hooked up with Roman Wilson on one of those. You know what I'm saying, doctor? No, that's what I get. He hopes Big Noon gets more fans than College Game Day. Yeah, this is a fun thing, I think, for people to talk about, like, boycott, game day, or go there and boo them, or yeah, I think if you're a Michigan, if I was at the game and I wanted to go hang out at one of those two places, if I went to ESPN spot, I would be going with ill intentions. I would be going just to disrupt their broadcast and just boo them the whole time, except when Desmond talked, then I would cheer. And if I was going to Big Noons, I would be going to just boo whenever Urban Meyer talk. I mean, that's it. That would be my game. It would be a pretty simplistic game plan, but that's what it would be. And so that's what's happening. Matt will be in the woods hunting whitetails, but then he'll be watching Michigan. Let's see what Andre says. He intentionally stays up till he can't hold his eyes open the night before the game. That way I wake up around 12 and don't have to suffer that morning. Well, there's a lot of ways to do it. I'm going to sleep like a baby on Friday, but I will be up early. It wouldn't surprise me 5 or 6 that I'm up and I just spring out of bed. I'm ready to go. I'm up early, on a Michigan, Ohio State. It's Christmas. It's your birthday, all in one. I'll get out in that cold, get outside, go out, get that workout in. go out and walk. You know, I won't be sitting around watching TV all the way till 12 o'clock. I will occupy myself with a bunch of things. And then maybe right at 12:14, boom, turn the TV on. Maybe I want to test it out to make sure. I don't want to be 12:14, but everything's been working. I think I'm good to go there. That's it. Scott comparing me to Lee Corso. Penny, 50 and likes Ohio State. No, she doesn't. Penny's a full-on Michigan goat. She's never set her foot down in the state of Ohio. She never will. She loves the green grass of Washtenaw County, and she's definitely a Michigan Wolverine goat. Aaron wants to know what my take is on the catapult stuff coming out. If people are, like this is a burner account of somebody that is on what I've seen from Twitter, maybe some other social media that's, trying to or putting out some things about Ohio State and Ryan Day. My opinion is that all of the good, like if they are guilty of something and Michigan has something on Ohio State or anybody has anything on Ohio State, put it out there. Let's see it. Like, the part about, I remember saying 6 months ago that a great defense isn't that everybody else is doing it. However, it is part of a defense. Like if you're saying like college football is a completely dirty sport, which I believe. And the other thing is that I believe that almost all of the teams in the top 25 are cheating. I believe almost all the teams in the top 25 are promising to pay players or have actually paid players. So when I hear people, calling Michigan big, fat, dirty cheaters, I'm saying like, look at yourself in the mirror. Like, go ahead, step up and cast the first stone. This is what this sport is all about. And I don't even know how big of a deal it is yet. I know there's a lot of people that want to say it is not all that big of a deal. And they might be right. It might not be all that big of a deal. And yeah, there still might be some 10 days ago, if you really asked me and pin me down, I'd have been like, it's just a lot of histrionics and just people going, because it's the scandal of the day and people are going wild. And it might not be all that big of a deal, which it still might not be. And then, last week, okay, now there's assistant coach. You don't know what yet is out there, in an investigation or everything else. So let's just sit back. To me, good. If there's something on Ohio State, spill it. Anything that can happen, to hear it from them and a public and, or a private investigating firm, sure. Put it all out there. I do know this. A win on Saturday is a huge argument winner. And really, that's what a lot of this is about. Because you'll have somebody that'll be like, oh, yeah, Michigan's a big. Michigan beat them on the field Saturday. Were they using signs on Saturday? Were they using any advanced scouts on Saturday? Did they use it against Penn State? Did they use it in the back half of the season? No. They did it on the field. So what are you going to cry about if they beat them on Saturday? You know what the answer is? Nothing. You're not going to cry about anything. It's going to be such a notch in Michigan's belt and such a huge argument winner for Wolverines fans if Michigan beats Ohio State on Saturday, because everybody can stuff it. They can stuff their advanced scout signals, cheating, crap with a win against Ohio State on Saturday. And then if you think it's an argument winner on Saturday, which it is, just wait till they win the Big Ten, because then that's a big argument winner. And don't get me started if they win in the college football playoffs. And if they win it all, I might just have an everyday podcast to just tell everybody how Michigan has won the argument. They've won the championship and they've won the argument. And I could just point to it right down and go through it. So, that's why this Saturday and all the other stuff, let's just get that. Let's just see the victory on Saturday, because it is going to mean an awful lot. which J.J. McCarthy is the real J.J. I saw J.J. on Monday, and that was the real J.J. That was the real McCoy. He was up there, unflappable. I took it as a good sign that he was there. I've also taken it as a good sign that he's practicing in full this week. So whatever it is, that's ailing him, whatever they can do to get him out there and, to play in this game. JJ, you saw him playing this game last year. How he knows how much it means to you, and he knows how much it means to his teammates. If it's at all possible to get the 100% JJ, I think that's the one that you're going to get. That's the one. That's what Scott thinks. He's going to show up. The JJ that's 3-0 against Penn State and Ohio. Yeah, well, then, JJ played 2 years ago, so he's, I guess if you're just going as a starter, is I think you could make the case that he's 4-0, but 3-0 as a starter. Okay, that's it. The NFL stuff. We'll wait on that. I think we're just looking here. Scott's talking about McCord being the best, third best quarterback in the Big Ten. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the Big Ten. Shadyville's worried. I get that. I do. Ohio is soft, so that's where the flurries come in. I'm not going to argue it too, Richard. I'm not going to argue it too much. Is Morgan who we thought Henning was? Henning was an outstanding player. He just had a few instances where he wasn't hanging onto the ball. Henning was an outstanding returner. Henning was excellent with the ball in his hands. But, Samaj Morgan, it looks great. He runs the ball with authority. And, you see him. We haven't seen him on punt returns, but I could see that. Adam, JJ must run big early to make the safeties respect his legs. I think he's closer to 100%, and Ohio may not think so until he proves it. I also think Michigan hits big runs with Corum and Dono. Yeah, I think, Adam, what you're saying here, this was kind of a long post, but I think all of the things that you're saying, I think everybody's nodding their head. Can Michigan beat Georgia? Yes. Andres is predicting that Michigan bullies Ohio State, similar to 21, but with less offensive production from the Suckeyes. I can see it. Scott wants to see Samaj return kickoffs and punts. I think at this point, like if the, I think, Thaw is in there. Tyler Morris has been in the mix. We've seen, I don't think, unless, they think this is some like ace in the hole that you pull out for Ohio State, maybe, but I don't think so. I think you'll see the returners. But I do think having, Samaj Morgan in the return game, you can also see him. He just turns around, very capable receiver, and then run after the catch. Yeah. When they're sitting around and game planning and watching film and talking about all the different plays and what they want to do, at some point they're going to be like, well, let's get Morgan. Let's make sure we've got enough for him getting the ball in his hands. They can do it. Travis is talking about some Alex Orji and a lot of jumbo packages. Yeah, I don't know if they need Alex Orji. I mean, they haven't needed Alex Orji. Alex Orji is an outstanding player and everything else, but, is Alex Orji better than JJ running the ball? Is there some kind of special package they might want to unleash? Maybe. I remember in the off season, I thought that Orji might be the Michigan quarterback in short yardage packages, where Michigan might want to go to the tush push, the terp push, like we saw last Saturday, And why I thought Orgy might be better than McCarthy is that I have seen Alex Orgy. He took an Instagram post picture, and he was posting it in the summer where he was, I don't know, he was running around on the track. Maybe he was working out. But what stood out was that he had tree trunks as legs. And, you look at you say, wow, man. And then we've seen him run a little bit too. Like, he's a load. So, the Eagles have so much great success because they have Kelsey, and then obviously they have Hurts, who's a very strong QB. So that was my idea. And so maybe, we all think about the wrinkles. Like, I didn't have, I've never said this before, but I'm going to do it. I hear a lot of people saying it. I didn't have Khalil Mullings throwing a Tebow jump pass on my bingo card, but there it was last year. I would not want to see any jump passes, but, obviously they're going on to say, obviously, they're likely to have a few different wrinkles that they're going to, throw out there, everything in the kitchen sink here on Saturday, whatever it takes. We see so many flea flickers, from Michigan. It's almost like, a flea flicker's like, off tackle here, with the way Michigan uses it. But so, yeah, some flea flickers you're going to see. That end around the Morgan, get the ball in his hand seems like a pretty good idea. What else? Again, I don't need to see any jump passes or anything. Dono throwing the ball. That'd be something. Who has better looking cheerleaders? Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan. The one thing, Ohio State's, I think the women are fine, except, the dental work and things, I think they chew tobacco. It's like, you do a lot of weird and dangerous things like, experimenting in college, but I don't need to see Ohio State girls with, chewing tobacco in their mouth. I mean, come on. Clean it up a little bit. Class it up a little bit, girls. You just don't need to be chewing tobacco during the game. It's bad for you anyways. Come on. This is Rob is getting ahead of himself a little bit, talking about Bama, being scared of Bama. Look, I'm not really scared of anyone right now. I'm anticipating this game on Saturday, and then we'll see. Michigan might not have to play Alabama. They might not have to play Georgia. It could be Washington. Who knows who it's going to be right now? Like you get there, it could really be about, 4 or 5 teams. It could be Texas, that you're talking about. Does Texas scare you? Texas beat Alabama at their place. Oh, there you go. Andre is talking about throwing things at the, I'm not going to get into Andres. Come on now. Let me ask you a specific question. And it comes down to confidence. I was going to ask you how you feel. I think that what we're getting here is how you have been feeling. Richard is more confident than he has been in 3 years. What gives you the confidence that Michigan will win on Saturday? That's the question that I have for you. Shady's going to be grilling and drinking. Nice combination there. Adam, rushing, always been the key stat. Win the rushing, win the game. Sounds good to me. Here's Vince. He's thankful for the show, your hard work, the Maize and Blue Review, and all the fans in the comments regularly. Excited for this game. Go Blue. Happy Thanksgiving. I like the energy, Vince. I like the holiday spirit, and I'm right there with you. Thank you. Thank everybody for taking the time and getting in here and contributing. Suspended for half of the season. I don't get that one. So I'm sorry. Let's get to the end here to see if we have some people talking about their confidence. Hassler has a Spartan fan who says if something similar happened to his basketball program, he claims he would never have watched a game. BS. Just pointless moral ground argument. Yeah, look, we're talking about sports. We're talking about winning ball games. You want to get there and feel like that. You've done so with the utmost integrity, and nobody can question your ethics. That's fine. However you get there. I just haven't seen too many teams in that winner's circle in my entire life that can claim that. So, I like integrity as much as the next person, but I'm also, trying to be realistic about the whole thing. And I do think a lot of it, people just get caught up in what they can say and what they can, and what they can point your finger at. And we don't even know. The tough thing about this one is that people can just make up anything because they can think that this has been everything for Michigan. Like this is the whole reason that they're in the spot that they are. And then we don't really, they don't know and we don't know. We don't know. That's why having the victory on Saturday is that you do know that none of the garbage that anybody's going to say about you matters about that, because you can just say, just look at the scoreboard. It had nothing to do with any advanced scouting. So stick it. There's a score of 37-21. That'd be nice. I have lowered my score. I have Michigan at 25 and Ohio State at 20. So I have Michigan by 5. JJ is what makes me confident he will ultimately be the difference maker. Vince, I'm with you. I'm confident with JJ. I'm confident with Blake Corum. I like the wild card that Donovan Edwards in this kind of game, knowing the kind of athlete he is and the kind of big play ability. The 75-yarder last year is still in my memory, and so is the 85-yarder from last year as well. The big play ability from Kojo, from Colston Loveland, from Roman Wilson, and then this Michigan offensive line, which is going to be the most important to come together and have their best game of the year. I don't think that they've had their best game of the year. Now would be a great time to have their best game of the year. So on offense, I think that they can match the firepower of Ohio State. I love this Michigan defense. I think that they can come together here as a group. You start getting into the front line from Chris Jenkins and Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and the way they've been playing the edges, and thinking about Harrell and McGregor and whoever else wants to get in there in the rotation in that front seven, the linebackers. Barrett's going to play in this game. He's going to – I think Michael Barrett's it might be Saturday. He's played more games than any Michigan player ever. And so having 23 out there, and Junior Colson, who might be the most underrated player on the defense in the secondary, which is going to have a big game. Man, Sainristil was up to the challenge last year. I think he's going to be up to the challenge again Saturday. Mikey Sainristil gives you a lot of confidence. I mean, he's another guy, 2-time captain, somebody else that gives you a lot of confidence when you just, his demeanor, his approach, his playmaking ability, what you've seen from him in big games. Will Johnson, I'm pretty confident in what Will Johnson can do. And, Will Johnson out there, Marvin Harrison Jr. Well, let's see. Maybe Will Johnson's getting a little something. That number 2 jersey, usually, you get those Buckeye wide receivers, and whether it's David Boston and Charles Woodson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Will Johnson, Mike Sainristil, Michigan's got some firepower out there. They got some playmaking. It's probably the best thing that could have happened, having some, passes to Leah getting out there, because now, man, it's like these guys are in the mix. It's no more, you give up some plays. Don't try to give up too many big plays. Yards after catch, let's go. But so I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good about it. All right. OT's confidence is coming from the interior, the O-line and D-line. Michigan will beat them down over fourth quarters. I like that. I like that idea. How about this good-looking guy, Steve Olson, on the feedback? I say, a lot of people. Steve is somebody that I went to high school with. Now, I want you to take a good look at me, and then take a good look at Steve. This happens with people that you go to high school with. There's a handful of people that you go to high school with that don't age. You see them after 10, 20, 30 years, and you're like, wait a second. Are you kidding me? This guy right here, this picture is a current photo. This guy graduated high school in 1988 from Livonia Franklin. And look at him. It's amazing. And I would say it's all that clean living and everything, but I don't think it is. I just think he's lucky. I always thought that. But good to see you, Steve. Happy Thanksgiving to you. How about that? Looking for some Donovan tricks that they'll come up with. Yeah, I like the trick that they pulled with Donovan last year. Hand it off to him, and then he runs 75 yards. And then the next series, you're like, okay, Donovan, let's run that trick again. Just hand it off to him. Boom, 85 yards. What a trick. Yeah, tricks are fine. I don't mind, go ahead. You want to throw him the ball? You want to have him throw the ball back to JJ? Whatever. I don't need tricks. I don't mind, but I don't mind them. I don't mind Corum for 50, Edwards for 75, Roman Wilson for 50, Loveland for 45. Those are the kind of treats, that I'm with. Shadyville, which rivalry game are you most excited for? For me, it's the Civil Wars. I'm most excited for this rivalry game. Saturday's a great day, but what I can tell you just from experience is that if things go well on Saturday afternoon, this will be one of the greatest weekends that I've ever had. Saturday will be one of the greatest days. I mean, Saturday is set up for me, and football is going to be part of it. Of course, the Michigan-Ohio State game. It goes well. All those games afterward, it's kind of what is it? It's a coronation. You just watch the games with such with so much cheer and fun, and then it's fun if you get around, and this won't be the case for me on Saturday. I don't think so right now. It's be here with the family and everything, but I can recall in years past, you watch the games afterwards, and then they show a highlight from earlier in the day, and then the crowd, wherever you're at, everybody, but you'll see the highlights, throughout the day, and normally I'm flipping over to another game. I'm not watching like the halftime shows or whatever else, but you watch a halftime show and then you see the Michigan highlights from a victory. So yeah, the Iron Bowl's fine, but give me, I think what you meant, Shadyville, is after Michigan, Ohio State. That's it. Mikey's a gamer. Mikey's clutch. Look at Steve. Look at Steve's prediction. Very close to mine. 24-20. We'll take a few more here. People love an H&0. Vince saying, do we know if he's definitely good to go yet? There have been good signs when it comes down to Roman Wilson, but again, brain injuries and the protocol that you have to go through is something that you have to hit markers each and every day. So far, so good. If I had to predict whether he was going to be out there or not, I would predict that he would be. But it's out of his hands. It's out of the Michigan coaching staff's hands. It's out of anybody else's hands here. It's in the doctor's hands. I think it's in the doctor's hands when he takes his little light and he's over there shining it in Roman's eyes, and Roman trying to do everything he can. So hopefully he doesn't have any symptoms and he's good to go. But there have been positive reports about Wilson and what Michigan will be able to do. TRH. See what he's saying. I think if we pressure McCord and key in on Henderson, we have a good shot. Harrison will get his. Just don't give up the run or a long pass. Yeah. I mean, I think this is the game plan overall. I'm with you. Key on Henderson, pressure on McCord, and Harrison is going to get his. Just don't give him too many of his. Like that's the part where I come back to is like, yeah, man, these guys. Trevion Henderson is a great player. You know who else I haven't mentioned who I think is a great player? Their tight end Stover, great player. So is Harrison. So is Abuke. So those guys are going to make some plays. They're going to get some 20-yarders, some 25-yarders. Limit those and or get more from Michigan's playmakers from the ones that we just went down, and you can come up with a good half dozen. Come up with a good half dozen for Ohio State's, good half dozen for Michigan's, Michigan being at home. And then we get back to the playmaking ability and the dual threat that is McCarthy. And that's why, J.J. McCarthy gives me the ultimate confidence in this game. The thing about Sherrone Moore being the head coach, I've always said, I like Sherrone Moore and having him over there on the sidelines. And but the pressure cooker that was last week and some of the calls, a run on 4th and 6, going for it on 4th and 8, it worked. Michigan was able to win the game, running the ball every down against Penn State. I didn't care too much, how they did it, getting it done. But that Harbaugh has, it's such a weird deal. Harbaugh's there. He's the coach. He's talking to everything. And then suddenly Saturday we'll get there. They'll be at the hotel. And then Harbaugh's going to be standing there. And everybody's going to be on the buses. And they're going to go over to the game. And then they're on their own. Sherrone Moore, man. Woo! Confident guy. I asked Sherrone Moore, Sherrone, put into words what this game means for the Michigan football program. I like this because, as you can see, I'm standing over to the left and I say, Sherrone, what's this game mean to the Michigan football program? And he looks right at me.
We all know what it means. It's the game. It's the one you practice, you play for, you work for all year. So we all know the stakes, and that'll give us a chance to go repeat on the Big Ten title. So the words, the prep, that'll come out a little bit more later on down the week. I try to keep it on a low boil this week because I can get pretty high really fast. So the kids are as prepared mentally and physically as they'll ever be to get ready for this week. So just excited to get with them today.
On the left, Michael.
Excited to get to him today. All right. So there we go. All right. Not bad. All right. Couple last thoughts here on the game. We got Hassler. Steve is still out there. Likes the hype man. Richard saying genetics. Genetics are nice. All right. Come on, Steve. Save some for the rest of us. Well, here we got a thought on the Lions. Hutch needs one tomorrow. The Lions are playing meaningful Thanksgiving game. It's awesome. Okay. Now what are we going to get sappy and everything else? I am or what? 14 years of my life, I worked in Detroit covering the Lions, doing the post game. So almost all of those 13, 14 Thanksgivings, I had to work. I had to leave my wife early in the morning and I wasn't coming back till, 7 at night. It's part of the job. And, I didn't mind it anyways. And a lot of times I didn't have to go to the stadium on Thanksgiving. A couple times I did, but it's Thanksgiving. And, sometimes you have to do things in your job and everything else. But there were a couple times where I worked in the morning. And so it was I was able to get back and watch the game at home, and you get that absent, and then you're sitting there watching the Lions on Thanksgiving, and now having it to be a chance. It isn't, not only is it a meaningful game, the Lions are one of the best teams in the NFL. To see him go out there tomorrow, tomorrow is going to be great. It's going to be a weird experience. Usually I'm watching it and I'm thinking about, how they're going to blow it, who's going to get them. There used to be, you argue about, oh, the Lions really come up big on Thanksgiving. And then, for like 30 years, no, they don't. No, they don't come up big on Thanksgiving. They, they're the Lions. They're most likely to, cough it up and get, killed on Thanksgiving. Peyton Manning, think about Chris Johnson. I remember the Titans run, that was the 0-16 season. But, tomorrow, yeah, with Hutch there. You know what I can recall way back in the day? My brother had season tickets. There's no game that is easier to get tickets for than the Thanksgiving Day game, because a lot of Lion fans are excited, to have season tickets and everything else. But Thanksgiving's, their thing, so they'll cough those tickets up. This year, I'm not sure. This year, it'll be like, this will be the Thanksgiving Day game to be at. The first time I ever fried a turkey was out in the Silverdome parking lot with my brother on Thanksgiving. I remember trying that turkey and thinking, wow, why would anybody eat turkey any other way than this, than frying it and those things? Now I sit around watching videos of people, I don't know, making it a disaster, but having trouble. I remember being out at a car dealership on some leading up, like on a Black Friday, and the program director or somebody, or sales director, he was making one of those turkeys and he spilled the grease down on the parking lot, and everybody was slipping. He's lucky there's a lot of things going on, but lawsuits and that nobody killed themselves. Woo! Very lucky. You're right, Richard. Life is good. How are they screwing us today? Dave talking about, I've been offline. Dave, as much as I go and check in to see whatever people are saying, the blow by blow of the NCAA investigation of the Big Ten, if it makes you feel good, to get in there and tell people to, fight with them or whatever else, or you don't know anything or whatever. Hey, Sherrone, do it. But, that's not, for me, that's not really my thing. If I was working on the radio, I'd have to, arguing with people and, having them tell me, that Michigan shot. I don't have to do that. So I've been able to insulate myself. I speak freely about how I feel about the whole situation, but I don't know right up to the second. And, I'm not that I'm just sitting back. In a lot of ways, I am just sitting back waiting for Saturday. But, man, there's so many other things. The Christmas stuff is all ready to go up. I have brought all the boxes upstairs, and so they're ready to be opened up, and the decorations are going to ensue. I've got a Michigan basketball game to watch coming up in just an hour or two. All day of football tomorrow, not bad. Friday, you can kind of do the same thing. A lot of football to watch. I was looking at the menu for Friday. It looks pretty good. So does the menu tomorrow. Actually, not too shabby. If you like college basketball and you like college football and you like pro football, today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Woo! Oh, that's where I'm at. You're right, Richard. No feedback is more on than this. If there's somebody that just enjoys football and basketball, then this stretch really is for you. And I really do like all of that. People saying good things about the Lions. I've thought about this just for a second, but I have not considered Michigan losing. So, Mr. Martini. So, I don't know. I'm not really, get back to me next week when stuff like that happens. Not that I don't like to, consider it and everything else. But I have considered that Michigan could have a great year, that they could win it all. I still feel like they can do that. I feel like they're going to win on Saturday. I feel like they're going to win the following week against Iowa in a repeat of the 21 Big Ten championship game. And then Michigan is going to win the Big Ten for 3 years in a row. And they will be no lower than 2 in the college football playoff. And whoever they play in the college football playoff, Georgia, Alabama, Washington, Texas. Am I forgetting anybody? LSU? No, I guess LSU can't be in there. Who got Florida State? Any team that they play, I feel like they're going to be able to beat them. They're going to have a chance. Now, look, I know I thought they were going to beat TCU last year, but I feel like they've got a chance to then win it all in the championship game. And I feel like the Lions. I don't, can they beat San Francisco on the road in the NFC Championship game, or the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game? I'm not ready to say that. But what would they be, if we're talking right now, 6-7 point underdog? Let's say it's against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. The last time, the only time, right, they were in the NFC Championship game, they were like a 14. Well, they might even have been a bigger underdog than that. It could have been a 15-point underdog to the Washington Redskins. Everybody knew they were going to lose that game. They're not going to be a 15-point underdog to the 49ers, I don't think, or the Eagles. Maybe somebody else will do their dirty work for them. Like, I don't think they could beat both San Francisco and Philly to get to the Super Bowl, but, I feel like they could beat one of them. Could I imagine Michigan winning the national championship and the Lions being in the NFC Championship game? Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking about. I think there's a chance for that. That's where I don't know if I focus. That's where my hope is. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Michigan winning on Saturday. I am thinking about the Lions winning tomorrow, but it's a great time to be alive, as the saying goes, and the proverbial saying, it is right now. And for Michigan, man, you live for ball games like this, and this game right now with Michigan being 11-0, Ohio State being 11-0, 2 years in a row. With I went out to dinner last week, Friday, and the people that we were talking about, California came up, and I was like, I went to California. And the guy goes, oh, the Rose Bowl? And I'm like, yeah, 2004 Rose Bowl. He's like, yeah, me too. And I was like, which Rose Bowl was it? And he's like, the 98 Rose Bowl. Ooh, when somebody gives you I went to the 98 Rose Bowl, and that's it. And with Michigan right now, this season, the 23 season, you got something right now. A big argument winner. What would a win mean for the Wolverines on Saturday? You can't even think. I know that like a national championship, that's what you're ultimately playing for. But on Saturday, I can't even. I can imagine it, but I don't know. I don't know what it's like. It's like somebody backs a truck full of money into my house and just dumps it all. It says, here it is, a couple of million. I was like, and I'm just sitting out there and I'm like, this is great. Couple of $1 million on the front lawn. Thanks. Merry Christmas. And then my wife comes home with a lottery ticket, and then we win 400. Like, I don't know. Like, it all seems like, winning the lottery. But, Michigan's holding on to a lot of nice tickets. And so, got to go out there and win it. I don't know about the last analogy, but it's going to be great. I want to experience it. I want to experience it all with you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I will be here on Friday. Jerry D'Ario will be here. We'll talk about Michigan, Ohio State, less than 24 hours from kickoff. And until then, everybody have a great rest of your day. I'll talk with you after the Michigan basketball game against Memphis in a couple hours, right on this very feed right now. So happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you soon.